Hi, Mr. C. Good to see you again. Welcome back to Flipped World History. Today's topic, how to write for history. History, especially at the college level, consists of large amounts of reading and writing. To get you ready for this, we're going to do a large amount of writing and reading in our class this year. I'll talk to you today about what a paper sounds like for history. The words never to use, phrases you should not use at the start of your paper, how to write a thesis, and the proper length for your paper. I know, sounds like a lot. We should probably get started right now. If you're not taking notes right now, pause the video. Open a notebook, get out a paper, pencil, pen, because tomorrow I might quiz you on what's going on. No, seriously, stop. Pause the video. I'll be here still. Okay, you ready? Let's get started. Let's start with what writing for history sounds like. History essays are statements that take a position or a stance on a subject. The position is then supported by evidence from valid, credible sources that are properly cited. Essays written for a history class shouldn't contain opinions, unless you've been asked to do that by me, your teacher. Now let's review words you should never use in a history essay. These words will kill your essay instantly. Here we go. Very. This is the word used to emphasize other words, but is not needed in your essay. Really. Like very, really is a word used for emphasis, but it is subjective. It isn't needed in your essay. Many. If I tell you I have many cookies, what number is that? If I tell you I have many songs on my iPad, what number is that? I'm willing to bet those numbers are different in your head. That's part of the problem. It's not an exact count. Lots. Much like many, what number is lots? It can vary depending on who is talking and what they're talking about. A lot. This is the other quantity phrase to avoid. Again, there is no definitive value to it. Things. If I say, during the French Revolution, people were upset with how things were, what things? It is vague and doesn't belong in your essay. Stuff. What is stuff? The dictionary defines it as an indeterminate material or articles. If the dictionary can't define it, we shouldn't use it in our papers. Ways. If you said Confucianism has a number of ways to support the power of the government, what are they? Again, it's a vague term. Think. This demonstrates your opinion, which is not the goal of a history essay. It shows that you think something is true, not that historians or scholars do. Believe. You can believe in the tooth fairy, but know that gravity exists. Believe indicates your own thought, though it may or may not be supported. Lastly, I. You don't need to use I in your writing. I know it's your essay. Your name's in the upper right-hand corner. And now, time for a quick review of those killer words. Hey, if I was filming this, one of my brothers was down to visit. Say hi, dude.
Hey, how's it going?
Yes, my kids call him Uncle Dude. Okay, back to the essay writing. Before we can write an essay, we need to look at the structure of an essay. Ideally, in a history essay, there are 2 triangles and a series of rectangles. Right now you're going, what? Triangles? Rectangles? It's not a math class. Well, I know. Hold on though. The triangles are the introduction and conclusion paragraphs, while the rectangles are the body paragraphs. This will make more sense when you see the graphic. Notice the triangle at the top is upside down. The triangle's at the top and bottom of the diagram here. There's no limit to the number of rectangles that can be in that diagram. In earlier grades, you were taught to write the 5-paragraph essay. These are no more. No 5-paragraph essays. Ever. In history class. We good? Okay, back to the diagram. The introduction paragraph should end with the thesis statement, the bottom of the triangle, the point of the first paragraph. I'll talk more about the thesis itself in a minute. The triangle, though, represents the idea that the paragraph starts with the topic and focuses down until that thesis, until the point. The body paragraphs then support the thesis with evidence. The conclusion paragraph sums up the essay and concludes with a unique insight of your own, to leave the reader something to think about. Here's that graphic again, now with labels. The only addition I've added here, really, is the idea of a smooth transition between paragraphs. Paragraphs should flow together with connections. The reader should never feel shocked or surprised that a paragraph leads to the next one. Now, back to that introduction paragraph. It should never start with sentences like, "Do you know about the French Revolution? Have you ever heard about the French Revolution? Do you wonder how the French Revolution actually happened?" No, we don't use those anymore. That was fine back in the earlier grades. These days, not going to work for us. Don't ask the reader a question. They can't answer you. A paper on the French Revolution might instead start like this. On a warm July day in 1789, French citizens, upset by the policies of the king and the government, started a revolution. The paragraph would then continue with additional sentences on the topic. These should be other background ideas that provide the reader with information to better understand the thesis statement. The thesis statement itself is the main argument of the paper. It states the position that you, the writer, are trying to convince the reader of. For an essay on the French Revolution, it might sound something like this. Despite the vast economic and social differences between the citizens and the nobility, if Louis XVI and his nobles had followed different policies while listening to the demands of the people, the revolution could have been avoided. The body paragraphs then focus on providing evidence to support the thesis in the paper. Each body paragraph should then focus on an element of the thesis in the order it was made. To prove the argument in the thesis, evidence needs to be given to the reader. The evidence should be in the form of a quote from a reputable scholarly source. The quote should be cited correctly. We'll talk about citations in a future video. When using quotes, though, they need to be used correctly. Avoid quote grenades. What's a quote grenade? Well, it looks kind of like this. A quote grenade is when the student drops a quote into a paragraph, just throws it in there. The paragraph then kind of blows up. A quote should be carefully placed in a paragraph. The entire paragraph flows together. This is done by first introducing the quote and then explaining its purpose in the paragraph once it's been used. This brings us to the conclusion paragraph. It should start with a restatement of the thesis, but in new words. The conclusion then summarizes the main points of the essay and finishes with a unique insight, a parting thought for your reader after they finish your paper. The conclusion should never start with, "In conclusion," or "to summarize." The unique insight is that one final thought that relates to the essay your reader leaves with kind of going, "Wow, I didn't think of that before." And now one more thing. With the notes from the video, tonight I'm going to ask you to write an essay for me. Yes, an essay. I know, first night of school. An essay? Is he crazy? Well, probably a little bit, but that's okay. Using your knowledge of history from past years, I want you to write an essay for me tonight that answers the following question. What is the most important event in world history? Any event, any place, any time. But explain why to me. The important thing now, of course, is to write this essay and not use those killer words. It can be written or typed. I don't need a works cited page on this essay. Future ones will require one, but not tonight. So, that's it for today. Get writing on that essay, and thanks for watching. Remember, be proud of who you are, and I'll see you in class.